Welcome to yet another episode of Bumping Into Walls. I am Dave, your host for this next half hour here on CJSW 90.9 on that FM dial. Welcome, one and all, and all those loyal listeners out there here on the FM dial and beyond. Welcome, Anthony.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. And you know what? We do have a guest with us in the studio, who just happened to be walking around the university campus today. And Kush, welcome to the Bumping Into Walls.
Thanks for having me.
And how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Well, I can't complain. Looks like we've had lovely days in the weather department, and no complaints on my end so far.
That's good to hear. I really appreciate both of you letting a random straggler just walk on in.
Hey, that's what we do.
I love it.
That's what we do, man.
We
love different people from different backgrounds just show up, and that, you know, it's happened a couple times over 4 years. So,
speaking of different backgrounds, we all have different interests and what have you. And boy, Kush, why don't you tell us, since you're the new guy here, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, since, considering the name of this podcast, I'll start with vision. I was born with a number of hereditary, progressive visual impairments, if you will. I was very stubborn and hot-headed and ignored all of it my entire life. I pretended it didn't exist. I faked my way through it, if you will, until one day that wasn't really that viable of an option. So sure, it was a smack in the face in the best way possible. But yeah, I've been adjusting since, and now I can say very proudly, if I may, that I went from being embarrassed and shy and self-conscious to being an advocate for the blind and low vision community. I love to speak to anyone in that community. I love to advocate for them. I love to share the ideas. And yeah, I just want to be a strong contributing member to that community.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, as folks and our listeners may not be necessarily aware, there's different levels of vision loss. And of course, bumping into walls, well,
we've all done it.
Well,
some walls hurt more than others.
That's right. Poor Anthony. I'm partially sighted, which means I'm blind to the right and don't see too well. I got the nystagmus in the left, and I may have mentioned this on previous episodes, but just to refresh those memories out there. And of course, poor Anthony, talking about really bumping into walls. One day we were at, when I was living in Cochrane, we were out at one of our rec centers, and I didn't even notice, and I smacked poor Anthony into a wall. I'm really surprised he lets me guide him around.
Well, you're at a rec center, so I guess I got wrecked.
You're lucky he still trusts you.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, man, anyways.
If it's any consolation, I've been in the same boat. I still thankfully have some level of vision, and I have a very good friend who is highly visually impaired, relies 100% on her cane. And there's times where I'm in the same boat where I'm doing my best to help her and I steer her the wrong way. And it's a feeling of guilt.
Oh, man, one of our former hosts, I'm not going to mention any names, I was guiding her along, and she said to me, David, you should be guiding anybody around. Or no, you're not a good guide. And of course, Anthony was with me that day, and he's thinking, uh-oh.
He's in supreme trouble.
Yeah, I did get in trouble that day, but hey, it happens.
Happens to the best of us. I've done it too, where as a totally blind person, you try to help some folks at camp, whatnot, and it's interesting where you're trucking along and there never used to be something in the way, and then the next thing you know, there's something like a chair that you don't know is there until your person trips over it, and you're like, oh, crud.
And you feel terrible because
you do. You're
just trying to be a good
person.
You're
trying to be a helpful person, help them out, and they fall on their face, and
then you feel like
I felt like something that didn't want to feel like. So, yeah.
And I've, with Anthony, I've tried to help him out on a few occasions, and I'm like, well, it's over there. And I keep pointing. I keep forgetting who I'm talking to. And it's like, oh, yeah, wait a minute. I'll never forget the time we were down at the A&W and the lady's just standing there with the cash in front of Anthony. And I just...
With the bag. She's standing there with the bag in front of me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what's there, of course, right?
So I just took the changes. Here you go. She was kind of expecting
Flustered.
you to take it. And I'm like, oh, man. It's kind of those funny things. I'm sure we can go on for...
Oh, I'm sure we can, man. But
about funny little stories of all that. Maybe that could be another...
no, you never know. Kush, would you be down to come back for one of those?
I'd be a fool to say no.
Okay.
All right.
Right on. Well,
I mean, my gosh.
Sign me up. You got my email. You got my phone number. You
Yeah,
got my
we're-
SIN number. What else do you need?
I don't think we
Sin-
have your SIN number. No,
you better not.
Oh,
But,
let's-
I am.
You're
both,
so
I'm
hooped.
both feet in.
Okay, right on.
All right, folks. You know what? Of course, Anthony and I were talking about an idea, so it came to be. So one of them, we are going to move on and speak about relationships. Uh-oh.
Dun dun dun.
Yep. Of course, I'm the I shouldn't say professional relationship guy on this panel.
You're the married guy.
Well, oh, yeah, that's right. What, 15 years?
You're showing both of us up over here.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
Patience and what have you. Although, I don't know, my wife has a lot of patience. Really, to put up with me that long, I keep telling she needs a medal or two or more than that. But, of course, if she's listening, I could be in trouble and sleeping in the doghouse by tonight.
He loves you, honey.
Thanks for that.
From the couch.
Yeah.
But, all right, relationships. So, Anthony, I'll start with you. Boy, interesting. Well, or relationships in general. What do you guys think? Hard work?
Oh, yeah.
Valuable work.
Valuable work, but you have to find the right person. I mean, and the biggest problem I always had was high school, couldn't drive a car. I don't know, maybe a girl never thought I was worth it. I don't know. Maybe I was lucky I didn't have to deal with that back then. Don't know. But it almost felt like if you couldn't see, no matter what your disability was, you didn't matter. That's what it felt like. I don't know if it still does. I mean, Kush, you're a little younger than us. So what's it like now? Is it easier or harder or...
Anthony, just before you go to Kush, hold on. Are you calling us old?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, go
We're
ahead,
experienced. We're experienced.
Kush. Go ahead, Kush.
It's a minefield out there, right? I would have to say that from a male's perspective, I have to side with Anthony, where things such as driving and transportation can be prohibitively, those can be really difficult barriers to overcome. I have multiple techniques that I employ where my goal is to show my worth without intentionally being deceptive and have a plan to share my visual situation at an organically appropriate time. So, you meet these days, let's all be real. The dating apps are the only way you're really going to do anything. So you're on the apps, you meet someone, goal one is get her phone number, get her off those apps because that person probably has their inbox on the app absolutely blowing up. So you want to get to their cell phone. You get to their cell phone, you get a date. I always try to suggest a place that I'm familiar with. I try to visit there in person ahead of time, maybe 1 or 2 days before. I want to make sure I understand the layout of the place, where the bathrooms are, where the tables are, so I can basically fake my way through it. I make sure I know the menu ahead of time, and I essentially pass myself off as someone who does not have a visual impairment because thankfully I have just enough where that's still a possibility. But I do my best to not deceive anyone. I have a list of anecdotes on my phone of things to bring up, driving or transit or whatever. And my goal is to give them a little tidbit and spark their curiosity so that they engage in the conversation. So, for example, a lot of my dates, personally, I will always do it during the weekday because I do have a position which is kind of close to downtown with good transit access.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than me, doing that whole $45 Uber ride both each way, leave work, go downtown, go to the place, have that conversation, and try to find that moment where I can disclose in an authentic way without it becoming my identity.
So you're lucky, because in my case, I've got a big white cane. It's pretty much, I mean, I didn't know if you had one or not, but I mean, I don't know if you used it. I didn't hear you use it when you walked in. So that's a good sign, right? That tells me that you're really good at what you do. And for me, or other those of us who don't have that opportunity, we just have to be very good at being, just having a good way of understanding of who we are. Like, don't make the blindness our complete identity is what I'm trying to say. Is that, because some people do that. Some people will do that.
I would absolutely agree. I think showing your worth as a human being is the first step, and then disclosure becomes much more easy because they see you as a human being, not just the guy who can't see a gosh darn thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, going through school, I used to get picked on quite a bit because there's constant movement in my eyes. They both wander, and so before entering high school, I was going to go through surgery to help mitigate the one eye from moving very much, but I don't know how successful that was, because at least in my experience, I got made fun of and people would just bug me about it, and of course to me it's kind of normal, so it's very hard to not identify as that person with a vision impairment and or blind or partially sighted. At least going through school, that's what it was like for me. Oh yeah, this is Dave. He has a sight problem and what have you. And of course, I've had Anthony and I were discussing off air because I went through a school here in Calgary for most of my childhood. The same folks that used to come in and set me up with equipment, he's heard of them.
I knew them quite well, actually, and it's one of those things where, I don't know if you ever had this, Kush, have you ever had this where you meet someone, and as you're going through your date, she may say to you, do you know my Uncle Joe? He lives in Toronto. And in your brain, you're going, how the heck would I know every blind person in the stinking world? I don't know if that's the thing now, but when I was in my younger years, that happened an awful lot. People just assumed, right? I mean, even in this community, you may know of someone. I'd never heard of you till I connected with you through today. So, but there are a lot of folks that we know of. We know the name, but we don't know the person, right? Does that make sense?
And by the way, folks, you are, if you're tuning in, you are listening to Bumping Into Walls here on CJSW 90.9 on that FM dial. Back to you there, Kush.
It's unfortunate how some people can have that presumption where if you're dealing with X, everyone dealing with X, you might know. I know that's silly. I think 99% of the population will agree that's silly, but let's just keep in mind that person isn't saying it to be a jerk.
No.
They're trying to connect with you.
They are.
That's just their best attempt, which unfortunately might not land the mark, but,
they're trying.
Half high five for trying, right?
Yeah. How accessible are these apps that people are using now as far as a blind person? How accessible are these dating apps? I'm pretty much not worried about it, but...
Dating apps? I guess I'm... Used to be back in the day, you'd go to the bar. Well,
go to the bar.
I'm talking even as going through high school, you'd meet through there. But as a younger adult, I would say, you'd go to the club or whatever and meet a person. Although that's not necessarily a good way to meet someone, especially after a couple.
You
decides to. But yeah, apps. And how safe? I don't know.
Safe is one thing. Accessible is another. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. As a primarily iOS user, sure, voiceover and talkback can work when you're in the messaging stages.
So what are voiceover and talkback? Well, we got listeners that have never heard of those. Can you explain what they are?
I would absolutely love to. So, VoiceOver and TalkBack are two gesture-based screen readers for iOS and Android, respectively. They are free to use. They come installed, or you download them, either one, depending if you're an Android, no big deal. But basically, it changes the navigation of your phone so that you can use swipes and taps to have what is on your screen audibly relayed back to you so that you are less or not dependent on your vision. So as an example, if I'm on a dating app and I'm going through the chat history of whoever I'm engaging with, I can swipe left and right to hear every message, to go across. There's a dictation feature built in as well so that you're not struggling with that horrible on-screen keyboard that nobody likes.
I hate it.
Everyone hates it. Thank goodness for dictation. And thank goodness in the last 5 years how fantastic it has gotten. It's getting really good. Now these days with dictation, I know specifically on iPhone, you can actually be dictating while it's listening and still be able to move around with the keyboard and do some edits. It doesn't time you out, doesn't kick you out. But the main issue is that there are still no image descriptions, right? Like if you see someone, it's not going to say so-and-so on a mountain, sunset behind them. It's not going to say that, right? I've tried all the apps. That's not a thing, unfortunately. So when it comes to browsing the images, which are, for the most part, the best way to get a sense of the other human being who you're interacting with, it's very shoddy. Very shoddy. So, hopefully they'll actually add some text there, right? A description of them, their interests, whatever it may be. And I always try to just make sure that first message speaks to them and who they are as a person. You have to connect with them, right? Like whether it's their dog or their hobby, whatever it is. But
you got to sell yourself.
You can't say, hey, how's it going? You're done. If you say, hey, how's it going? You're done, right? So you got to find something, build contact, start a relationship. Start a conversation. My apologies.
How you doing?
There, you're done, pal. You'd be done.
Oh,
You'd be done in 5 seconds, apparently.
How you doing?
I didn't know that.
You're done. You're done. And the main thing you have to keep in mind is, supply and demand. Like, let's just be real. If you are, so I'm going to speak for myself because that's who I know. So I'm a heterosexual male. And in my experience, I have to go out there. I have to like them. I have to search them out. I have to woo them to some degree.
Yep.
But from every member of the opposite sex who I've spoken to on these apps, they're the opposite. They don't do a gosh darn thing. They don't lift a finger. They just wait for all the likes to come in and they pick and choose. Right? So you have to have that perspective in mind where you're the pursuer, but that person already has a full inbox. And they're sifting through it. And they're trying to find a reason to give a hoot about you. So it's highly competitive. Highly competitive.
Oh man.
It's high, and I won't say the name of that. So for example, there's one app, just an example, where you go on it, you match with the other individual, and it's designed specifically so that the female counterpart must engage first. So you match, they have to contact you within 24 hours or it expires.
That's fair, though.
No, it's not, because it always expires.
Oh, man.
You don't get a chance. Because they're busy or their inbox is already blowing up. Right? And it's much more difficult for certain people to make the first move. So wow. That would not be the one that I recommend. It's the one that's yellow. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, I won't say the name. I would recommend avoiding that one. But yeah, it's trial and error. It really is. You have to understand how the app works. You have to figure that out. You got to do your research. You got to figure it out, and then you got to create a strategy.
That sounds way too complicated for
my brain would explode.
Not that I'm planning to go on any dating apps anytime soon, because if I did, I think somebody would definitely be in trouble.
Yeah, you might lose body parts.
Let's not go there.
There's a reason why the majority of people are like paying money for, consultation services to walk them through this stuff. Okay, because it's that much of a pain in the backside.
So I guess having being blind / visually impaired. I like to call it being visually inconvenienced.
Well, yeah.
Visually
I mean,
inconvenient.
I like
you
it.
know,
I like that.
never mind being blind or visually impaired. I just call it visually inconvenienced. That's just my thing. That's
I like it.
Side joke, but you know, how
I'm-
much more work would it be to even? I guess if you're looking, and I guess Anthony, I guess we can. I'm going to pick on you because I guess you recently had a breakup.
Yeah, but things could.
And but we don't know how that's.
We don't know how
turn
that's
out.
going to fly, but we know it
But-
happened. I just got a call, and they're like, well,
I messed up. I'm sorry.
no,
You're the
no,
best thing that's ever happened
no,
to me.
I wish it was more like, you know what, I didn't feel comfortable for a while, and I've met a new guy at work. Now we don't know how long that's going to last, but
Ouch.
yeah. So
To all the listeners, look out for coworkers. Those are the dangerous individuals.
I'm beginning to realize that. But it does make sense, right? It does make sense. You're with them every day.
You trust them. You
Yeah.
do the same thing. You're
Yeah.
friendly.
That's right. So I can't say, oh, she's bad for doing it. But it was a shock, yeah. And I mean, she's also visually impaired. So I was sort of surprised that it came that way. But it did. I didn't lose my collective marbles. I tried to stay as calm as possible. I felt like the coyote that hits on the head with the stupid anvil, you know? He's sitting at the bottom of the cliff. Wonk. But, you know, we're just giving each other a lot of space. And you know what? It's open to whatever's going to happen here, right? I don't really want to go either way because I don't know what she wants to do. So if she's willing to work this out, I'm willing to work it out. If she chooses not to, I can't control that. So
That is a very respectfully understanding position. High five to you, Anthony.
No kidding. If that was me, I'd be like,
Raging.
I was. Ask Dave. Ask
yeah,
Dave.
yeah, oh yeah. He was raging, but
Is
I mean,
that why that mic stand over there is broken?
Yeah, from the punk band that was in here last week.
you know, good on you. And
And if I may, I just want to add
Sure,
one
you may.
thing. Let's address both sides of the coin, if you will, right?
Sure.
Like, yeah, it can be challenging, but let's keep in mind that, sure, you have a visual impairment, big whoop,
Yeah,
right?
it's not a big deal.
It's still an opportunity for you to show your character, what you're made of, what you do, what you can provide. And in my experience, I think in select cases hyphen everywhere, it can be an opportunity because you have a level of empathy and understanding and vulnerability that some people will be drawn to. They will be drawn to it. And if you find those people, that speaks to their character as well. That
Sure it
speaks to
does.
who they are. And if anyone acts, if you find anyone who shows a genuine interest in your life and your struggles, that is the one you pursue.
That's right.
Not these IG models, not these people that go maybe a little bit too much or drink a little bit too much or whatever it may be. But just keep in mind that your, for lack of a better word, disability can be an opportunity if you approach it that way.
Mm-hmm. One thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you've seen this, Kush, I use a computer. I use the web all the time. And at least in the community that I've seen in the blind community, a lot of, it can be either way. A lot of people will do the long distance thing. Now, some people do it smart.
Please no.
No, but some people do it smart. I have a friend, she's going in with open eyes. She's dating a guy in Canada. She lives in the States. But she says, you know what? If it doesn't fly, it doesn't fly. Some people will have a relationship for 2 years and never meet each other because neither of them can afford to get there. And I'm like, are you just doing this to say you have a person, even though you've never met them? What if the person on the other end is not who you think they are? Is this just a blindness thing, or is this what is happening now where people are so desperate that they'll go after anyone or anything?
Well, I think we're all looking for a companionship,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
depending on your situation, you might be more or less starved for that.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the level of, neglect to some extent, you might be more flexible. I'm with you a little bit, Anthony. You have to know, there has to be a plan, right? Sure, it can be long distance. Sure, they can live somewhere else, but you need to be on the same page. We're going to see each other this many times this month or this year or whatever it is, and this is where we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to break down the cost, because, let's be 50-50, equal partners here, right? There's no need for one person to foot the whole bill, but it's an opportunity to have those very difficult but exceptionally meaningful conversations.
Yeah, I think that's what has to happen, because so often these people just chat back and forth on the web or chat on the phone. I have friends that are just friends. That's it. They're not, I wouldn't date them because they're too far away, and I know that, right?
Well, it all depends, right? Like we all have our different love languages. We all have our different attachment styles, right?
Yeah.
Some of us need emotional support. Some of us need to be able to, for lack of a better word, see, interact, touch, feel that person, right?
Kind of like that, yeah.
I'm much more like that as well. Long distance has never been my cup of tea for that reason alone.
That's right. But for some people it works. But the reason I brought it up was some blind people build this fantasy, and they don't even know if the person's real. I mean, I had a guy who thought I was a girl hitting on me. And if he'd had looked at my name, he would have realized he was asking me some really unusual questions about bra size. And that's when I said, hey, dude, look at the name. Anthony is not a girl's name. Never has been.
You shouldn't be speaking to anyone mentioning bust size in general.
Oh, yes.
In general.
That's where I was what's wrong with this guy, right? He's got a fetish of some sort. And that happens I don't know if he was blind or not, but it was one of those things where you're like, well, if he isn't blind, he's going to be soon, because someone's going to take his eyes out.
Pun intended.
Well, yes, the pun was intended. So what do you think? If you're a new guy, Kush, and you're 16, 17 years old, looks like dating apps is where it's at. So, should you be worried about going to school and trying? That would make sense to me. If you're in school already, if you're in the choir or whatever you're into, and you meet a girl there, great. Is that where people should be starting? Or like university, same thing. If you meet in a class, well, that's pretty tough because you're in a lecture all day.
I'd recommend it. What person doesn't love in-person, face-to-face human connection, right? That would be the way to go, regardless of your age. If you have the opportunity to actually connect with them, work, school,
a hobby that you share,
and you stand out, right? You get to demonstrate yourself and your personality, and you can't do it the same way through texting and an app. So I would say that if you have no visual impairment, if you have a visual impairment in person, and you know what, some people just love it. They appreciate that, because, for example, there's been times where I'm at the mall and I'm using my cane, right? So I'm self-identifying as someone who's visually impaired, and it kind of gets you an in. Like, that barista might just be a little bit sweeter to you.
Oh yeah,
you go to a store and your request to find the trousers becomes a conversation with a real human being.
It can also go the other way, though.
It also,
because
if I may, sorry, it also kind of lowers their barriers or hesitation. They kind of see you as a safe person, because someone who has a disability is probably empathetic. My apologies.
No worries, man. I was just going to mention that I always thought that those with service dogs had it over us, but you know what? I'm wrong.
Oh no, I pulled out the white cane at stores, and people are a little more willing to help.
100%.
Especially, around Costco or whatever. Of course, I walk around with my little device as well, and people give me a weird look. I don't care.
Oh, gets the job
done. Good for you.
I was this has been a very, very interesting conversation. I haven't dated in, haven't had the need to look for someone else. And really, my wife Heather and I, we met kind of a chance. I should say a chance encounter, but I was invited over to her mom's place for dinner, and we kind of hit it off there. And of course, I had to phone her. I was being respectful and let her phone me. But it obviously worked out. We got married in 2008. So it's kind of funny. I don't have too much to really add in terms of dating, I guess, in today's world. So it's just been
it's great,
interesting conversation all around. Because you know what, folks? I do see we're getting close to the half-hour mark here on the show. You know, half an hour does go by quick on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost time to wrap it up if anyone has anything they want to add.
Dead silence.
Ooh, crickets. Well,
Yeah.
folks, that's a good thing. First
Hey.
of all, I would... Anthony, go ahead.
No. I just think it's really great that Kush was able to drop by because it's rare that we have a guest just show, and that's awesome. That's great that he came in with a lot of great stuff. So I hope people got something out of it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Relationships itself, and that's what we were discussing. So we thought, well, we'd invite you in and to the conversation. So thank you very much, Kush, for coming. And, of course, Anthony and all those loyal listeners out there in wonderful radio land and beyond, do take care. This has been you have been listening to Bumping Into Walls here on CJSW on that FM dial of 90.9 FM in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Take care.